Okay, let's not
All
get
right,
caught
so
in
we're
the
going to be
loophole.
watching Dangerous People Are Teaching Your Kids.
Not my
Not
kids.
my kids. Your kids.
Well, of us, I'm the only one with child.
That's true.
So, and that's singular, so it'd be kid. And I'm assuming he's talking to me, so Dangerous People Are Teaching my kid.
Okay.
Presumably.
Wait, who's teaching him right now? You? Because then that's the case. He's
Okay, that's true. That's why I try not to.
Okay.
The wife usually does most of that.
Yeah.
She's better of a person in general.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Yep. I back that up.
All right, so Dangerous People Are Teaching Your Kids. A PragerU video.
You may not realize it, but you are currently funding some dangerous people. They are indoctrinating young minds throughout the West with their resentment-ridden
Peterson.
ideology. They have made it their life's mission to undermine Western civilization itself, which they regard as corrupt, oppressive, and patriarchal.
Which it is.
The
If you're
first
a
two
taxpayer
is...
or paying for your kid's liberal arts degree,
Just-
you're underwriting this gang of nihilists. You're supporting
God,
ideologues
nihilism.
who claim that all truth is subjective.
Let's take a second to discuss nihilism, because of the three people here, being Kesare, Warren, and myself, Kaifka, I'm a nihilist. In a sense. Like, not the truest of forms, but...
Well, then you aren't really a nihilist, I guess you would
There's
argue.
different forms of
He's
nihilism.
an off-brand.
Oh.
I'm generic nihilist.
Okay, Walmart
great
brand.
Great value nihilist.
Great value nihilist.
That actually works really well.
Yeah, that's kind
God
of funny.
damn it.
Kind of sad.
Curse you, Walmart.
Just
Okay, but of the three of us, I'm the only nihilist here.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm the only one who actually gets an opinion.
Okay.
All right, so continuing
Damn,
on.
long time
with-
setting that
I was
precedent.
the one drunk with
Well, he's talking about nihilists. It'd be like if someone was talking about black people. Do you have a black friend? No, I have a black friend, so I can talk about this. That's how this works, isn't it?
I'm gonna go with no. No, I'm pretty sure no.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fair.
All right.
On with the show.
That all sex differences are socially constructed, and that Western imperialism is the sole source of all third world
they are
problems.
socially constructed.
They are the postmodernists, pushing for progressive activism at a college near you. They produce the mobs that violently shut down campus speakers.
That is not true.
Police who enshrine into
partially
law
true.
use of fabricated gender pronouns.
That's
Fabricated is a
Police
weird
whose
word.
livelihoods depend on madly rooting out discrimination, where
Right.
little or none exists. Their thinking took hold in Western universities
So they're all
in the 60s and
hippies
70s,
and angry
the
white
true
women.
believers of the
That seems to
radical
be-
left became the professors of today.
Oh
Now
God,
we
God
he
lack
was
that
showing the
education
past.
Right, God forbid people who
Not
like
so that our
learning
children learn to think
became
critically,
teachers.
write clearly, or speak properly, but so they can
Wait,
model
I'm
their
sorry.
mentors' destructive
We almost
agenda.
skipped over something there. Did he just say that because of college, kids aren't able to think critically, write clearly, or speak properly?
Yes.
There's no form of education that happens before college that's supposed to, I mean, think critically, fine, but that's supposed to help you write clearly and speak clearly.
Well, the system has failed.
To be fair, college is where you have speech class.
I mean, I had a lisp, so I had speech class in grammar school. So,
Okay, well you're
and
atypical,
it's
so-
grammar. It's called grammar school
Well, it could also be called elementary school.
or grade school, primary
yeah.
school. Yeah, man, all these arbitrary names that mean nothing. But it's still. Sorry, we got distracted. I still want to point out the fact that he's talking about college is what's ruining
Oh yeah.
people's.
Well,
ability
because
to
they're
do this.
teaching people to be language police. Because
Well, but that would mean people are able
no,
to.
you know what? I want to just take a step back. Language police would also be an English teacher, a
Yeah.
grammar teacher, any foreign language teacher.
So really, just any language.
Right. So language is the enemy, but truthful speech, that's the real genuine article.
Well, yeah, because truthful speech. Sorry, truthful speech is objective. You cannot deny what is truthful speech. And Jordan Peterson, boy, he knows his truthful speech. I can't think of a time I've been able to argue with him because all his speech is truthful. And because of that, just you can't argue with him.
You're right. He's never contradicted himself, not once.
Ever. We'll get on lobsters later, I swear
Yet
to God.
this video.
I don't know. We're still.
I think we've leaned into it a little bit already.
We'll
How far in and he's already
But so they can model the
Yeah.
mentor's destructive agenda. It's now possible to complete an English degree and never encounter Shakespeare. One of those
Thank
dead white
Wait,
males
God.
whose works underlie our...
I don't know
Thank
how those two things are related.
God.
Like, okay, maybe
Most
because I'm not an
overrated
academic
piece
type.
of shit.
I could see a justification for it, considering how much he just made up words. That
Yeah, that's fair.
understanding
Well-
of the malleability, constructibility of language. If you don't have a word, just make it up. That
Yeah,
would be a nice thing to know.
Well, no, you can't
But
have
actually,
that
just
because
wrote knowing Shakespeare. Yeah, no.
because they're language police. They
That's
can't have
true.
made up words. That's why they don't teach Shakespeare. Made up words, but also
I feel like you're wrong. I feel like you're very wrong.
but that's what Peterson said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, truthful speech.
Right. So, but you're the more academic one. Kelsey,
I am a postmodernist. Yes.
interchangeable, whatever.
I'm a pre-postmodernist.
Pre-postmodernist.
I'm
Or
a
the
I'll be
wait. You're
post-postmodernist.
you're a penultimate modernist.
Yeah.
I'm a post-pre-modern. Well, let's just get arbitrary. But an English degree. What does that entail? I would assume.
Classes.
But I mean, like, what are you if you get an English degree?
A person with an English degree.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just trying to figure out how Shakespeare we should give a shit.
Oh.
Well, what I said, but
Right, I understand that.
beyond
The
that,
language sense. I mean, like, it would be of note in a literature class, but I don't think we need to be taught exclusively about Shakespeare. Like, I
also,
really
I'll
don't think
look
he
at
is
how
significant.
language has changed over time.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right,
mean,
but
there's
they
still
could get
reasons
with
to
all
write-
There's academic
old
stuff,
artists.
but like
But in terms of
just that or
general
rote
knowledge,
memorization, yeah.
trying to, like, for an English degree, I don't think you do need it. I don't think you absolutely need Shakespeare.
Yeah,
there are
so you can-
far tons more writers.
So you're saying you could get all the same equivalent exchange, except for perhaps the made-up language. Perhaps.
The colloquialisms,
So you could get all of that from
other sources.
other sources.
Yeah, you probably could.
So there's really no reason Shakespeare is important.
Except for the colloquialisms.
Right. But even then, you can...
You can
Well-
just learn that.
Or...
Well, that's already pretty much embedded in our language.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
Catch a
especially-
Cold, that was Shakespeare.
But I mean, like, even who goes through high school without learning Shakespeare?
Well,
This is college. He's talking college.
okay, so now we're getting really nitpicky.
Now we're getting into redundancy.
Right.
Like,
So
you learned this already. Why
Are
am
you-
I learning it again?
Huh.
That's education in general.
right, but that just sounds like they're trying to fix
That's
it.
how
I-
insurance works.
I did this math problem. Now do it 20 more times. No.
Well, I mean, at least for math, it's not the same problem.
There have been times.
Fair enough. But for Shakespeare, in my personal experience, I know it's different for everyone, but we went through Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, A Midsummer Night's Dream,
Wow.
and those are the major ones. Am I missing any?
Well, they're
I know there's a bunch more, but
Yeah.
I mean the major ones.
yeah, those are all major plays. There are other major plays,
like
but
King Lear and Shakespeare and whatever. But
yes,
for the
you did.
most part, in college, they're going to go over those same plays.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to start going over lesser known plays. I mean, unless
That'd
they,
be nice.
well, I mean, unless they're in a poetry class focusing on his sonnets, his love poetry. Like, I could see it in poetry, like maybe not in a literature class. So that was really fascinating. All right,
One of those dead white males whose works underlie our society of oppression.
One dead white male.
To understand and oppose the postmodernists, the ideas by which they orient themselves must be clearly identified.
okay.
First is their new unholy trinity of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity
I'm
is defined
sorry.
not by opinion,
I don't.
That's an
but by
unholy
race,
trinity.
ethnicity, or
Yeah.
sexual
Being
identity.
different,
Equity
equal,
is no longer the allowable.
and
Inclusive.
inclusive.
Yes.
How dare
Yeah.
you?
Oh no, that's a horrible thing.
Right.
Why do we have to include people just because they exist? I mean,
I don't know why
Jesus.
we would, decide to be one people.
Right? Why
It's not
should
like-
we be one people?
Before we get into an argument on tribalism, let's continue with the unholy trinity.
All right.
Diversity is defined not by opinion, but by race, ethnicity, or sexual identity.
I think it's defined both
It
ways.
is no longer the laudable goal of equality of opportunity, but the insistence on equality of outcome. And inclusion
Do we?
is the use of identity-based quotas to attain this.
Oh. I've heard it both ways. It works. I'm sorry. This is a long-running joke with me and Warren. I always say, because I got it from Psych, because he always says, I've heard it both ways. And he's always like, no, you haven't. And this time I had heard it both ways. And he was gesturing me to
say
say
that you had heard it both ways.
You had it 100% justified. I had to point it out.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to let you live this one down.
That's true. I should have. I'll keep a better mind on
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So
Do better, be better.
Right.
I don't know. Because now they're saying equity is equality of outcome instead of equality of chance. Oh,
Opportunity.
yeah.
Yep. Which is inaccurate.
But I mean, Peterson says it, so it's got to be factual.
Right. I'm sorry. Truthful speech.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm not asking you to correct it. I'm just asking you to speak on it. Speak more on why.
Well, the outcome doesn't make it. See, he keeps saying people are arguing for equality of outcome, and the way he defines equality of outcome, whatever he wants to say about forcing the amount of people into a job because of the outcomes, because you have to equal the outcomes, is not. Forget that entire argument, because he always goes that way, and it doesn't even make any sense. What I think is more telling is that he won't even recognize it as a data point. Like, it's not that they're necessarily arguing for an equality of outcome, but that the outcomes should tell you something about the process.
Oh, I see.
And that's what he won't recognize, is that, like, okay, fine. How does he put it? Fair enough. You want to say that we can't force women into these male jobs or whatever. But if you take just the raw percentage of men versus women, that doesn't change with demographics or background or history, like just the raw number. And so there is some outcome that does need to shift. If it is overwhelmingly white men, just in raw percentage, I would argue there's no way it wouldn't favor white men, just inherently.
Okay. I can't think of a single way to argue with that. I mean, I can, but then I'd just be dumb.
Of identity-based quotas to attain this misconceived state of equity.
Which I think
All
we
the
just kind of
classic
touched on.
rights of the West are to be considered secondary to these new values. Take, for example, freedom of speech, the very pillar of democracy. The postmodernists refuse to
pillar.
believe that
I was
people
gonna
of
say,
goodwill
yeah, that's-
can exchange ideas and reach consensus. Their world
I said
is
killer.
instead
Oh.
Free
a
speech is
Hobbesian
killer
nightmare of
democracy.
identity
What?
groups warring for power. They don't see ideas that run contrary to their ideology as simply incorrect. They see them as integral to the oppressive system they wish to supplant, and consider it a
Yep,
moral
yep.
obligation to stifle and constrain their expression.
I wouldn't say a moral
Second is
obligation.
rejection of the free market, of the very idea that free voluntary trading benefits everyone.
That's
They
true. It
won't
does not.
acknowledge that
I mean,
capitalism
especially
has
if
lifted
we
up
live-
hundreds of
Sorry,
millions
yeah,
of
let's
pause
pause
that.
for a second.
No.
You're going to say that the free market benefits everyone?
Or that, I mean, it just ignores the entire idea of Citizens United.
And honestly, purchases aren't always voluntary.
No, like I need food. I didn't. Yeah, maybe I'm going to choose that hamburger over that chicken, but
at the end of the day, you still need to
right.
eat.
I still need to purchase groceries. I still
And
need electricity.
Let's be fair. Most grocery places, you've got 3 options, really. And electricity, oh, God, when you start getting into, like, utilities, it's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, internet's considered a necessity?
Yeah.
No.
A utility, I think, is the term. Depends on whether
the
you're
idea
going
you
from a
can't cut
legal
it off.
perspective.
Right.
Right.
And they've created a system where pretty much no matter where you live, you have one option.
1, maybe 2, and the second one is 10 times worse than any other option.
Yeah, the second one is like a generic brand that died 10 years ago.
It's still lingering in their system.
Yeah.
No.
But no, that totally works to help everyone. Because
there's no free market. We live in a mixed economy. Like, the government is involved and private interests are involved. There's no way. He's just fundamentally wrong. Just typically.
okay. I mean, he is.
So they can, for the first time in history, afford food, shelter, clothing, transportation,
Never could before.
even
I was
entertainment
gonna
and travel.
say-
Never in history.
Those classified as
Never.
poor.
Well, not
For
even.
the first time in history, we can afford food.
Food.
Let's even
It's
pause on that.
amazing that we got to this point, considering all of our ancestors immediately starved.
Or forget before money.
Well-
We survived, right? Like, we ate.
I want to pause on all
We
of that
could
in
buy
general.
that food with
We can
our
afford
guns
food,
and
shelter,
spears.
clothing, transportation. Can we? Like,
You're so right.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't.
Yeah, I've been wearing the same pair of pants for, like, I just bought these the other day.
They look nice.
These are the first pair of pants I've bought in 3 years.
Yeah, and let's see. I don't want to admit this out loud, but I live with my in-laws.
Right.
Like, the idea that because of the free market, we can afford food and shelter and clothes and transportation. One,
You have access.
people have always had access to that.
Yeah.
Always. 2, no, we can't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, the poverty of the world is going down as a whole.
Yeah.
What is the word for it? Average amount of money that a person has is going up, which is misleading. And poverty in America, like, even Hasbro's in on the joke of their new monopoly for millennials. You don't buy property because you can't afford it. It's a game.
No, that's funny because we just got, our mother got
Cheaters edition.
Cheaters edition of Monopoly.
Yeah.
Where you're encouraged to just steal money from each other. And if you get caught, you're handcuffed to the board by jail. It's really interesting. I don't know how you're encouraged to steal from the bank if people aren't looking.
How do you get out of the handcuffs, and are there enough handcuffs for everyone?
Okay, to be perfectly honest, no idea about the rules. Game has not been opened up.
true.
Okay.
But it appeared that there's only one pair of one cuff.
Yeah. You're cuffed to the board.
Yeah.
All right. Well, back to the point at hand of Peterson and Prager, you being full of assholes and liars.
Even entertainment and travel. Those classified as poor in the U.S. and increasingly everywhere else are able to meet their basic needs.
Again,
False.
Like,
In once
False.
prosperous Venezuela.
False.
Until recently,
Oh
the
my
poster
God, we're
child
going to
of the campus
Venezuela.
radicals.
Oh
Wait,
man.
class
Oh
can we
man.
pull
Toilet
out
paper.
right-wing bingo.
Right wing bingo, or I think we need to make a Venezuela button or something like that. Ooh, bingo, that's a good idea.
Like, did they bring up bingo or did they bring up Venezuela? Point from me.
Oh, that's it. Or God, we should make it a drinking game sometime.
Oh dear
No,
Lord.
you'll be dead.
Yeah, we will die.
All right, I'm not getting into Venezuela. Keep moving.
Okay,
This whole like
let's see if we can get.
this is
around
their
this
anti-socialism
dumb stuff.
Because there's only one socialist thing in existence.
And it
right?
is.
And there's only
Right.
one way to do it.
Right. Yeah.
and it's failing because of the ideology.
And all of those other other socialist entities and countries and whatnot not don't exist, but are Venezuela.
Oh, they're all Venezuela. Everything that is slightly socialism, Venezuela.
Yeah.
Even our own slightly socialism type things, they're all Venezuela.
The middle class lines up for toilet paper. Third and finally
Okay,
are
we're
the
onto
politics
something.
of identity. Postmodernists don't believe in individuals. You're
That's
an exemplar of your race,
false.
sex, or
No,
sexual
no,
preference.
no.
You're also either a victim or an oppressor.
I mean, let's.
no wrong
In,
can
in,
be done
I
by
wanna-
any-
in the power dynamics of life,
You're also a victim or an oppressor. Well, yeah. You can't not be one of those things. Now, it's not in general. I'm not always an oppressor. I'm not always a victim.
well, in that sense, you're speaking victim very broadly. Like,
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, there's no third option there.
right, they're poles,
Yeah,
which
so-
require each other.
So
You can't- yeah.
You're either a victim or an oppressor.
Oppressor.
There's no other option.
One requires the other.
And then also the fact that there's no individual, like, if anything, you're shooting yourself in the foot here, Peterson. With all the genders we have, and you can identify as anything, that makes you an individual.
Right.
That's why some people do it.
Right.
Is because they want to be a special, unique person. And that is their prerogative. But clearly we're all the same.
Right. Well, and all those things he says that removes our individualness are just aspects of our individualness. That's why that was really confusing to me.
Like, you are your race. I mean, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
You are your gender. Well, that adds into it as well.
right.
So now you're saying that, like, you're adding a bunch of things to the problem.
His argument is then that, like, let's say I identify as a woman.
I'm proud of you for finally.
I would support that. decision.
Okay, that's not what's going on here. But like that, I lost my train of thought. What did he just say?
Gender identity.
Oh,
that individual.
is that no? It's cool. Like if I identified as a woman, I'm not identifying as an individual anymore. I'm identifying with a collective.
So you're saying that women aren't individuals, only men are?
That is not what.
No, I
I
understand.
don't know.
what
I'm trying
you're
to
saying.
I'm trying to weave it back because you're adjacently wrong. Like you lose yourself in the collective with each aspect that you break your individual self into.
Oh man, it's almost like we're gonna get back to tribalism. Moving on.
can be done by anyone in the former group and no good by the latter.
I mean, that's inherently
Such
wrong.
ideas of victimization do nothing but justify the use of power and engender intergroup conflict.
Do you need some coffee?
All these concepts originated with Karl Marx,
like
the
he needs a
19th
good
century
shit.
German philosopher. Marx
my
viewed
God.
the world as a
Wait,
gigantic
I'm sorry.
class.
Was Marx German? I thought he was Russian.
I thought he was Austrian.
One moment.
Yeah, I thought he was Austrian.
Yeah, because
Well, anyways, like he keeps bringing up Marx, like just because. Oh my god.
well, not only that, but like it's
Germany.
Oh, he is German?
It was German.
So it just got popular in Russia. Good for him. You know, really reaching out there.
Branched out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lenin helped.
You're taking credit away from Marx, man.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I forgot it's all Marx. Because if something reflects at all an ideology in some way, it can only be that ideology and nothing else.
Yeah.
Do we need
like
to talk
all
about-
socialism is Venezuela.
Do we need to talk about tribalism?
Okay, fine, keep going.
Class struggle, the bourgeoisie against the proletariat, the grasping rich against the desperate poor. But wherever his ideas were put into practice, in the Soviet Union.
I want to pause really quick because he was saying that these were Karl Marx's ideas. Were they? Like, were these? I mean, he probably combined them all and popularized them. But before 1818, no one had concepts of the powerful versus the poor. Like, we didn't write our legends on this shit. Nothing? No.
When did the Communist Manifesto come out? Because I'm thinking of The Wealth of Nations was even older than that, and that talks about like the way the oppressive should treat the...
Did you say Communist Manifesto? That had to come out after Marx because it was communist, and communism is socialism.
Oh my god.
Commune, collective.
1848.
Or 1818 was when he was born.
I don't know. I'm getting too bogged down in history.
Right. But the idea is like, so Karl Marx came up with the idea of the poor versus the strong.
Well, and that ideology has forced people to slaughter people in the Soviet Union
And Venezuela.
Venezuela. I'm sorry, Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forced them.
Yep.
Twisted their arms.
Yep.
Stalin just...
He was a socialist through and through.
That's true.
Name just a few. Whole economies failed and tens of millions were killed.
Because of socialism.
We fought a decades-long Cold War to stop the spread of those murderous notions.
How do you fight a Cold War?
Right. That's
the
contradicting yourself.
Yep, that's a little...
Fighting a Cold War. That
Well,
was
because
started
the
by
word
us.
war is in there, so you have to fight a war.
Started by us.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is the missiles were moving to Cuba because we moved our missiles into Turkey. I want to say Turkey.
Maybe.
A country near Russia to point at Russia.
Yeah.
But we don't mention that because
It's not flattering.
Right.
it's really not. It's not
Yep.
sexy. Not sexy history. But Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, sexy history.
Mm-hmm.
Of those murderous notions. But they're back in the new guise of identity politics.
Oh
The
my
corrupt
God!
ideas
Pause
of
it.
the postmodern
So the Cold War is just like identity politics.
And Venezuela.
So wanting to be a woman is the same.
As wanting to be socialist.
I
don't know. No, I'd be heading more towards Hitler. Moving on.
Oh, okay.
The
Well, we're
Marxists
almost done.
should
Here.
be consigned to the dustbin of history. Instead, we underwrite their continuance in the very
So this whole
institutions where
idea
the
needs to disappear, but your religious, white conservative beliefs really need to hold on.
Yeah, the ones
The
that
Bible, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Peterson. Because there's still a hint of the baby in there.
But you got to understand, this fallacy came out in the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been around too long. Christianity and other religious views, they're fresh,
Timeless.
and new, and timeless.
They're timeless and therefore ancient, inevitable, certain truths.
Right?
Truthful
And
speech,
you're
truthful
just
speech,
learning
truthful speech.
through their lessons of how you should live your life.
But
Not-
you don't learn that from postmodernists. No, you don't learn any lessons.
Nope.
Because there's too many interpretations. Maybe there's a ton of lessons that people need to learn.
It's almost like there's too many interpretations, just like from a book that may have spread out hundreds upon hundreds of branches of the same religion that just interprets it a little different. It sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
in the very institutions where the central ideas of the West should be transmitted across the generations. Unless we stop, postmodernism will do to America and the entire Western world what it's already done to its universities. I'm Jordan Peterson.
So it's doing to our universities.
No, it'll do to everything
Right,
what it
right.
did to the
Right.
universities.
The
So-
universities being capitalist at heart and really sucking the money out of everyone and creating these Marxist people who've already given all their capitalist money to these institutions. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're full of shit.
Almost.
Almost. But truth speech.
True speech. True speech. True speech.